about a detailed operation going after another high-value target back in 2003. Well, the first thing you do is you go with good intelligence. Intelligence is perishable, and in this case, it took years to develop the right information. Some tidbits developed as far back as 2001 were used to enhance information 3 years ago, which resulted in a clear target last year. So there's no shortcut to good intelligence. The big thing is, once you develop it, you have to act on it very quickly or else it becomes perishable. I think in this case, everything was a perfect storm in a good sense, by the fact the intel was there, hard decisions were made in a timely basis, and the result was getting the individuals finally after all this time.
And there would have been good support on the ground. We know that the Navy SEALs went in by helicopter, but there would have been other support structure there as well.
Well, obviously, there were other special mission units I was told about today that were involved and not been discussed publicly. I don't want to get to that. But there's two things. First, clearly the Pakistanis had to at least somewhat go along with this by the fact that these helicopters were flying in their airspace. I heard there was a bit of guile used to justify the aviation doing what it did. With that said, there's no doubt that the information was not shared with the Pakistanis prior to the event. And this was necessary by the fact that every other time information had been shared with the Pakistanis in some form, it was given up to the Taliban or to the Al-Qaeda targets we were after. So this is good news for us. I think it's time for both the British and the American government to look at what we're doing in Pakistan and why they weren't more active in helping us. Clearly, this should have been done by years ago.
Would be like, particularly in Afghanistan, with the news that Osama bin Laden is dead?
Well, undoubtedly they'll be very pleased to hear that, and whichever way you look at it, it's very good news. Some could say it's a few years later than it might have been, but there's no doubt that Osama bin Laden and his acolytes have made every effort to conceal him. But the fact remains, he's been found, he's been killed, and that is a positive step for those who are trying to see off Al-Qaeda for what it is, and particularly for what it's not.
One wonders though whether it's anything more than symbolic.
No, it's more than symbolic. I think you have to remember that the whole basis of Al-Qaeda, the manipulation, perversion if you like, of one of the world's great religions into this Islamist agenda, effectively is asking people to live a lie. You can go on living a lie for a while, but eventually the truth will out. And I think those who have been supporting Al-Qaeda will have realised that his loss is significant. They'll also realise that quite a lot of their senior operatives and leadership have been taken out in recent times. I begin to wonder, well, what's really the basis of this? Is there a way forward? Is there a future for Al-Qaeda? Or is this actually not something to be taken forward?
So many family and friends today, when I rang them with the news, asked me whether that meant that they would be more or less safe as a result. What's your view?
Well, I think in the short term, we have to expect that there may be some backlash. I think we've seen this in the past. There may be a spike of violence, whether it's here, whether it's elsewhere in the world, or whether in fact it's in Afghanistan. But I think there is a debate to be had, and I'm not sure if I've really heard it today yet, about what the effect on the Taliban this will be. The Taliban have got their own agenda, that's for sure, but they've been quite closely associated with Al-Qaeda, and it may well be that the Taliban is
the